Hello.
Hello. Glad to see you.
Glad to see you too since last year.
How are you?
I'm okay, and you?
It's too hot.
Yes, it's very hot today. Yes.
Oh, well, let's start from quarantine time.
Yes, exactly.
Was it good for you? What
It
did
was.
you do?
It was not really easy for photography. First, it was not possible to go like all the time in the center to take photo in the city. So during almost 2 months, I was at home, and I didn't have this. I didn't want to take photo really. I didn't have the mood to take photo in the city. I didn't want to use the situation of nobody in the street, people with masks. I mean, the situation was not in the mood to take photography for me. So maybe in 2 months I was out maybe 1 or 2 times to take photo, really between my house and the shop. That's all.
Oh.
Yes.
You mostly, what did you do? You work with your archive, maybe?
Yes, I was making, I was trying new editing, and I started to make an online lesson, online course of photography. So it took me a lot of time to prepare and to start. So it was good.
It was lessons on photography or
Yes.
editing or
Editing. About editing, yes. So it was a perfect moment to start this. Because anyway, I was at home, so.
Editing in Lightroom, yes?
Yes, on Lightroom, yes. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, how many years do you live in St. Petersburg?
I came first time, it was in 2011.
2011.
But yes, but I live here since it's 2015. If I don't count living here and moving in France 1 month, 2 months, definitely. But now I'm definitely living here.
Why St. Petersburg? Was it for work or?
I came first time, yes, in 2011 for the work. And I totally fall in love with the city at the first time, really, at the first day. And after, it was in my mind all the time. I wanted to live here. And after, yes?
No, please continue.
Between 2011, 15, 17, I was working in south of France, but I was moving between here and France, so it was between two countries. And after I decided, and I had the opportunity to come here, so I totally came here to live.
Do you still work in architecture and photography is your side project, or?
Yes. I help some. I was going to work in Amsterdam a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen. But now I'm helping some project in the city. I have very good contact with my boss and ex-boss and ex-company.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Can you tell maybe 3 small things that you like and don't like about living in St. Petersburg?
Here, first, I like the mood of the city. It remembers me a bit. The mood of the city, yes, it's a bit like Paris. I think it's very similar. I love the weather. I love the cold winter, and the white night is very beautiful. And I love the difference of architecture in the city between old place, new place like the stadium, New Holland, everything, all this area, new place really. And the city it's not, how I can tell this, you have new building and old building, but going to destroy. And it's this mix of both sides of the city is very, very interesting for me.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes. And what I don't like in the city, it's a lot of place who need to be rebuilt.
That's true.
It's a lot of place. Maybe it's not enough of park, maybe. But yes, the biggest problem for me, it's a lot of very interesting place and nobody do anything. It's like, for example, the project of New Holland is very interesting because it was totally empty place and now it's full of life. So I hope it will be much more place like this with project and to keep alive the city.
Yeah, and you have a very cinematic look.
Thank you. Yes, I try.
Do you remember your first camera?
My first camera, it was a Canon 450D.
Was it film camera?
No. It's analog. Yes, digital. Yes. It was really my first.
You tried a lot of cameras, Canon, I believe Fuji,
yes,
Ricoh GR, and
yes.
Now, do you have several cameras or you use only one?
My camera, it's Fujifilm X100F, but I was with Leica Moscow. They gave me one of their camera during few weeks. So I was using the Leica since beginning of June, beginning of May maybe. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. So it's.
I saw you had a Leica.
Yes.
It was like a test, or? Yes.
It was on. It's Leica Moscow who gave me for. During few weeks, it was a Leica Q2.
I understand. You tested Ricoh GR3.
Yes, and the 2.
I want you to tell a little bit about your impressions about this camera.
Yes, you gave me the GR3 and GR2 for try. The GR3 for me is it's in the top 3 of the best camera for street photography. It's for sure because it's little camera. It's like very often I tell to people that it's for street photography it's one of the best because it's little camera and nobody watch you. Nobody expects that you are a photographer or you have with this camera you have total freedom because nobody care about you. Like I always tell you're the perfect tourist with this camera. And you can be a very, very famous photographer with maybe a very aggressive style of taking photo. If you are with the Ricoh GR2 or GR3, it's so little that people they don't even think that you can take a good photo. It's stupid sometimes to think like this, but usually people they think that big camera is professional and little camera it's not professional. And this is a big plus of the GR3 and GR2. Is that you have total freedom in the street. Nobody watch you, nobody take intention on you, because you're the perfect tourist. It's good for this. It's perfect, and the quality is really the quality of the camera is really good.
I wanted to ask you about your architecture background. Do you think it somehow influenced on how you see the composition, on your perception of visual?
Yeah, I think it helped a lot. For example, it helped a lot to understand the volume of the building, the place of what the building will take on the picture, the perspective, for example. It helped a lot. This is for sure because in architecture you learn all this perspective and all this stuff. But someone who is not from architecture can do exactly the same. Just it's more easy when you are from architecture to learn about this. To use after in the photo, it's much more fast and much more easy. Yes.
What is and do you have a favorite focal range?
Focal range? Before it was 35. But since I tried the GR3, it's a 28. And the Leica that I have now, it's the same, it's 28 millimeter. And for me, in photography, in street photo, it's the most, not the most easy, but it's the most comfortable. And for example, my favorite lens, it's 90 or 100. So it's much more long, but it's totally not comfortable in the street because it's too long lens. So the 28 is really for me, it's the best. You can work really with perspective, with dynamic of the image. And you never, almost never have the problem that it's too near or too far, because if it's too far, you walk, and if it's too near, with the 28, you have a lot of, you see a lot on the image. So for me, it's really the best.
Do you have your favorite part of the day for photography?
Of the day for photography? Of the day, not really. I prefer when it's rain or snow. I love, since last year, I was working a lot on sun and shadow. I like, but during the day, I'm not total focus on sunset or sunrise, because for me, sunset, it's all the time the same light. It's beautiful, it's warm, it's beautiful, it's easy to make cool photo. But I like to take a strong contrast of shadow and light during the day, really, when it's the sun really high. It's very interesting. But I can take photo, the light is not for me. I can take photo on every kind of weather. It's okay.
You have a very, very decent style. Have you developed it for a long time, or is it came naturally, maybe?
This, I don't know. It's I think the style is always evolve all the time. It's always you change style, and it's always better and better and better. But I have some favorite photographer. I watch a lot of movies, so I think it's from movies came the idea of photo, and after you have this color and style of photo to take. But I think that the style, anyway, everybody starts from zero, and in photography you never stop to learn. So it's all the time you are learning, and when you understand that you are learning all the time, it's at this moment that you know that you are on the good way. Because if I watch my photo of last year, or even last month, I always find something that I don't like, something to fix. So next time I will try to fix. This is it's really the proof that you change style and it's better and better and better.
Can you name maybe the latest movie that visually impressed you?
The last movie that impressed me, I think it's The Joker.
Joker.
Because I love the green colors that they put everywhere. Of course, movies like Blade Runner, it's really it's very strong style, so it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Blade Runner, both of them.
Yes.
Do you crop your pictures, or you like to leave it as it is?
This is why I love 28 millimeters, because I know that with 28 millimeters, I have % of mistake when I take the photo. After I can crop. This is big plus of 28, and people that don't think about this very often. I mean, it's nothing to everybody crop the photo. And if I take picture at 50 millimeter, I will have less % to crop if I make mistakes than 28. 28 is very large, so I can crop like I want. So yes, I crop almost all the time, but when I take the photo, I know that I will crop already. So I always take a little bit more on the frame, because I know that after I will crop to make really perfect. Because sometimes in street photography, you don't have the time to make really perfect frame. So with 28, it's much more fast and much more easy for this.
I understand. And you edit in Lightroom?
Yes, in Lightroom, yes.
What I like about street photography, that you know, sometimes you like have to break the classical rules of photography, you know, like the rule of third, for example, or sometimes you have to leave a lot of empty space. Do you like to break the rules, or you love the classical perception of
no,
composition.
it's always interesting to break the rules. This is always interesting. All the time when I teach people photography, it's very important to know all these rules of photography, the rule of third, and it's very important to know because, like I tell all the time, you need to know, and after you can forget about it. Because you know the rules, you will know how to not respect the rules. Because in photography, maybe you can make one good photography, but it will be luck. But if you really are into photography, to have good photography, you need to know the rules and after forget about this. But because you have these rules in mind, you know that what you are making, it's not luck, it's what you wanted. So it's always interesting to know the rules and break the rules because it's much more interesting in the end.
I totally agree with you. Do you see the difference in perception of attitude to photography between Russian and maybe French photography?
About photographer, I don't know, but about people in the street, yes, it's different. I mean, French people, I think we are more close. We don't like to be on photo. If I take me, for example, but I think it's much more easy to make photo in Russia. You have less negative reaction in the street. I mean, even in Russia, with police or army, for the moment, I didn't have any problem. And sometime, like last year, I was taking photo of army in the street, really near them. And I never had any problem. In France, if you will take photo of the police, directly they will come to you and ask what you are doing and can delete the photo. I'm sure it can happen here in Russia, it's normal. But I feel much more step of for work of freedom here in Russia, even with people in the street walking. People, they care much less in Russia than in France. I mean, maybe in Russia, in St. Petersburg, I had 2 times maximum someone who didn't want photo, but it's the maximum, really it's the maximum. Usually people, if they understand what you are doing, they are not, nothing bad happen, and it's much more close in France and in Europe, I think.
We have a question. Did you study photography?
No.
No?
No, totally not.
Totally by yourself?
Yes, it's really when I came here to St. Petersburg. Before I was taking photo like everybody for holidays and nothing special, but it's really the city who gave me the mood to take photo all the time. It's very, I don't know how to explain, it's very strange, but it's really the city who forced me to take photo. Because, for example, if I go to France, I don't want to take photo all the time. I don't have interest, and here I have really interest of taking photo all the time. I'm not tired of it.
Interesting.
Yes.
I wanted to talk with you about your teaching experience. I believe you like teaching.
Yes, it's very interesting for me.
Why?
It's interesting because first I see people from everywhere. So when I was making, I'm still doing, but now with the virus I stopped, but I will restart. When I give lesson in the city of street photography, right in the street, I saw people from all Russia, from Kazan, from Novosibirsk, from Moscow, and not a lot of people from the city, from St. Petersburg, by the way. I even saw people from Australia who was in holidays here. So I saw really people from all the world, and it's even bigger with online, because now I can see everybody. I had people from Japan, United States. So it's very interesting because, I mean, all the country, we have different way of thinking about photography and different way of taking photos. Like Asian will not take photo like European. So it's very interesting to teach people and see the reaction and after how they work with what I teach. It's very interesting.
Do you look after them?
Yes. Yes.
How many, approximately, how many students have you had?
I don't know. Really, it's now it's quite a lot. It's a lot in. I started online lesson 2-3 months ago. It must be easy, around 50 people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And in the city in St. Petersburg, it's much more long, so it's much more people.
Hmm.
But I miss to teach street photography in the street. But now it's impossible, so we'll see.
Can you tell from the start if the person is talented or not, or there was, for example, a person who you thought that he wasn't so talented, that he made like.
But this it's complicated because it's like me. I'm not from photography. I'm not from family who's my mom. She's painting, but it's not just a hobby like this. I mean, I'm not from family who is in art or photography or cinema. So I'm really from zero. And I think that, of course, some people they have directly they have much more. It's much more easy for some people to take good photo. They understand much more fast. But when I give lesson, I try to understand directly the people. And for online lesson, for example, I ask people to send me photos.
Mm-hmm.
Because I work on their photo on Lightroom. I make editing on their photo. So you really have, and I ask people to give me different style of photos. So you really see the difference between people, what level they have. But you have some people who just start photography and they have the eyes already. Good eyes for photography, it's visible and with color. It really depends of everybody, but some people who start to learn, they can have very good level after in few months. If they really like and really, because in photography, you need to take a lot of photo to make better and better. There is no magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's between people who was in University of Art or people who was not in University of Art, it's exactly the same. If they don't make a lot of photography, you don't make better photography.
It's a question of persistence.
I think, yes, for sure. Yes, in photography, I think, because it's a lot of, you have your own style. So, of course, you have people who have very good style at the beginning, who know what to do. But you have your own style, you need to work on your own style. And like the rule of third, for example, the rules of photography, it's the same for everybody. So you will see directly people who follow the rules and people who doesn't follow the rules. Usually people who follow the rules, they go more far. Because like I said, after they know how to not respect the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting.
We have a question. Do you think street photo is a trend now?
I don't know. Street photography is the most easy way of taking photos. I mean, almost everybody live in city, so it's you just take your camera on your phone, you take photos. So it's a lot of people who take photography. But I don't. Maybe with social media, yes, because it's a lot of people now taking photo on Instagram and put street photography. But it's good, and I think street photography is one of the best school for photography. Because I always said this in the lesson. It's in street photography, you control nothing. It's everything against you. The lights, the city, the people, they can be angry. So you learn how to deal with all these problems. And it's visible, people who are good in street photography, if you will put them in studio or in a landscape or in wildlife photography, they are very good because they know how to deal with everything. It's like I have some friend photographer, and I have a friend in Paris. He loves to take photography during the strike. So it's really the fight between people and police. And for him, it's not comfortable, but it's very good moment when he's in this middle of thing. So I know that if I will ask him to go to mountain or everywhere, for him it will be easy because he make experiment of the worst possible. So it's I think street photography is a good way to learn.
Yeah. It's funny that you can shoot in any condition after.
Yes.
We have another question. Do you make or plan photo walks with students?
In St. Petersburg, I'm waiting when the situation will be better. And after, yes, after I will restart. I will restart lesson with one person and to make workshop. We'll plan to make workshop, serious workshop on 1-2 days. I will see, but for the moment it's impossible, so I can't plan.
I wanted to ask you that you have a plan of photo walk. You know the exact places, or you just walk through the streets and take pictures?
It depends. Sometimes I have an image in ID that I want to take. I just need to wait the good moment of the day, the good weather. And very often it's just I go to the street and I have one subway station. I go out on the subway station and I will walk everywhere around and I will take picture and see what's happened. It's the big plus of street photography. It's, you can have plan or you can have totally no plan and you will see what's happened. Sometimes nothing happen, but sometimes a lot of stuff can happen and it's very interesting.
Yeah. Do you like find the good location with good light and, for example, wait for the right person to walk through,
yes,
for example?
When it's when I have image in my head, it's very often I want exactly this image. I can wait really long time on the spot. I can be very patient because anyway, in big city like St. Petersburg, it's a lot of people, so you know that what you want will happen almost all the time. Maybe you need to come back every day during 1 week, 1 month, 2 months. For example, it's one picture in St. Petersburg that I want at winter, near the Neva, and I still did not make this photo. So I know I need condition, I need night, I need strong snowfall. This year it didn't happen. Last year it didn't happen. So maybe next winter it will happen.
Oh, so you are waiting.
Yes, it's an image that I have in head, and I like to take this kind of picture because when you're proud of yourself. You catch the moment, and it's exactly what you imagine. So it's a different way of street photography.
So you're like a hunter.
Yes, exactly.
We have another question. Why you make white frames when posting your photos on Instagram? Sometimes it makes photos smaller.
I just put the white frame because I love the 16 by 9 format. Or 16 by 10. And with the white border, Instagram doesn't crop the picture.
What genres of photography besides street photo you like?
I like landscape. Landscape photography. And I would love to try wildlife photography with animals.
Oh.
Yes, really I would love. But landscape, I really love landscape photography.
Do you have favorite photographers? Maybe you can name some of them.
Yes, of course. I have the classic photographer. One of my favorites, he's from Hong Kong. It's Fan Ho.
Can you name him one more time?
Fan Ho.
Fan Ho?
Yes, he's from 50s, 60s. For me, it's only in black and white, but very cinematic style. It's very beautiful. Of course, after I have all the I like all the classic like Saul Leiter, Elliot Erwitt, and now one of my favorite photographers, he's from Iceland. He's Ragnar Axelsson. He was making a big documentary about people from North and people from Iceland, but not Iceland like we see on social media. It's really Iceland. How is it? It's with difficult condition of living in the North country. And his work is really, it's absolutely beautiful. It's I'm a big fan of his work.
Oh, very interesting.
He's more a mix of yes, landscape photography with documentary, but it's very, very beautiful what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Documentary movies also like inspires you.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, me too.
It's I like, no, yes, I like very much.
I want to go back to your teaching experience. Have you became friends with some of your students?
Yes, of course, I keep contact, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you always have camera with you, or when you're on vacation, you just like relax and reboot?
No, I have all the time the camera with me.
All the time, wow.
All the time. And it's again, it's a big plus of the GR, is that it's so little that it really come in any pocket of jacket, or it's so easy to take with you all the time that it's very cool. But no, I always have my camera with me.
So you like never became like visually burned out?
No, sometimes, no, of course, sometimes, yes, it's happened. I can stay, like during the situation that we had with the virus, it was no mood for take photos.
Mm-hmm.
So no, sometimes it's happened, it's normal, I think.
I understand. We have another question. Who's your favorite French street photographer?
French street photographer? Favorite? I don't have. I know I love the work of Cartier-Bresson and all these famous photographers, but it's not my favorite.
Okay. We have another question. What advice would you give someone who has been doing street photography for some years, but finally wants to earn some money with his photography without giving up his own vision or his own convictions?
This is a big question of photography. Because in photography, very often you have people who are very talented, but they don't earn money from this. And you have people who are not talented, but they are very good in business, and they can win a lot of money with this. This really, it's a very difficult question, because for me, I love to give, to teach people. So I win some money with this. But after, in street photography, what you can do, it's sell your picture, but the same, you need to be very good in business for this. And after, it's more, because street photography, it's difficult to make money from street photography, really. I think it's much more easy to make photography of, you know, people who work for a restaurant, lifestyle photography, or photo shoot, photo session with people. So it's good anyway in photography. It's always good to try everything and to find what you like. And it's like, for example, in landscape photography, I have a lot of friends who make landscape photography in Russia. And from landscape photography, you learn a lot who can help you for street photography. And in street photography, you learn a lot who can help you for landscape. So anyway, in photography, with one camera, you can make all the styles that you want. So it's very good to have a very large very large idea of your work and what you can do. But really focus on street photography, it's difficult. Of course, you have some people who make big money and just on making book and sell print. But for this, it's really the people who are the most talented, and they are good in business too. It really works together anyway.
You mentioned the book, so I want to ask you about the preferable and enjoyable media for you? Is it Instagram and social media, or is it your printed photos on the walls? Maybe?
For me, it's the print photo.
Print photo.
Because yes, and the book. For me, the book is the top of the. It's the best because you make photo on social media. It's interesting. It's nice because you have directly the what people think about your work. But for example, to make a book, it's the final step of your work. It's a book. It will stay like a book. Nobody will touch. And for me, for me, the book is the best. It's like to make print, it's important, but to make book, it's really the most important.
We'll be waiting for your book.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to make. It's in my head.
Well, it's complicated. You have to you have to make a conception.
Yes, it's really not easy. And you need to have some logic in the photo to make one book about something.
Yeah.
Yes, it's what we don't need on Instagram. We can do all what we want. Your work can go on landscape, a street photo, a portrait. On book, it must be some logic on the book.
Yeah. We have another question. Does being a foreigner helps you to deal with strangers, avoid questions or conflicts? Or is it, on the contrary, makes it more difficult?
No, it's much more easy. And I'm lucky because I'm French. So here in St. Petersburg, when you tell to people that you are French, directly it's on the good way. People that are kind and it's a smile, and some of them they are a bit of surprise. And now it's much more strong because now it's totally no foreigner in the city because the borders are closed. So now it's a big surprise.
So the people are much more pleasant with foreigners.
Yes.
That's funny. Another question: what Russian cities you like or want to visit?
I like Moscow. I like St. Petersburg. This is for sure. Moscow is very interesting because Moscow it's really a mix of. It's a mix of everything. It's giant. To live, I don't know. I'm not sure. But to explore and visit, yes, it's very interesting. And after, I don't know. I would like to visit really a lot of cities from Russia. Much more far on the east, and it's like I would love to see Murmansk. It's not very far from St. Petersburg, so it's not difficult because it's interesting. It's really North City. It's for me it's very interesting.
Do you have favorite places in St. Petersburg?
Favorite place? I love the Winter Canal near Hermitage.
What?
The Winter Canal.
Ah, well, me too.
All the time I go there, all the time I take photos. I can go there all the year, I will take photo. No, I love to walk near the canal, near the Neva, it's very beautiful. And like I told you in the beginning, I love this mix of old building who almost fall and beautiful place like the center. It's old building but clean and with restoration. I like really much this mix of this contrast in the city.
Our audience invites you to the south of Russia.
Yes. I was one time in near Sochi.
Near Sochi?
Yes, in Novorossiysk.
Wow. How did you like it there?
It's interesting. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I had a friend who was working in the same company like me. Then they moved there, so I was visiting them 4 or 5 days. It was not long, but it's interesting. It's totally different from here, so it's very nice.
Well, another question: is there any difference in street photography in Europe and Russia?
But it's after it depends on photographer. But like I told you about the people, it's I think it's more easy here than in Europe, because people in Europe are much more close. And directly in France, when you will take, not all the time, not in all city, because it's different all the time, but in Paris, usually if you take photo of people, they are not big fan of this. So it's much more easy here than there.
Okay. Was there any strange cases while photographing? Maybe funny, maybe dangerous?
Dangerous? No. Really no. Dangerous? No. Funny, it was last year with, it was a repetition of 9 of May. So it was tank in the street. So it was very funny to see a Chinese tourist with a Russian tank in the street, and people were walking with coffee in the end. For me, it was perfect. It was just, and for tourists, it was visible on their face that they didn't expect this. It was totally not a natural situation.
Like surreal, totally.
Totally. And it was people from, I mean, Russian people, everything was normal. People was on window in the street. Nothing was strange, but for tourists, it was really what's happened was very strange. And this, it was the perfect situation in street photography. Very funny.
I wanted to ask you about your time in LA. You were working there.
Yes.
For how many years?
It was around 9 months.
And you photographed there?
No.
No.
I didn't make photos there.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about your favorite places for photography in LA.
No, I didn't. I didn't have this. I didn't start to take photos there. It's sad. Now I regret, because it's really cool place for photography.
Yeah.
But maybe I will come back, and maybe one day.
Well, friends, you can ask Victor another questions if you have any, please, because my questions are up. Well, anyway, it's very pleasant to see Victor.
Thank you.
Ну, ребята, если у вас еще вопросы, и если нет, мы начнем закругляться. Смотрите, если последний шанс. How do you find locations to take photos?
Like I told you, it's I know the city very well. St. Petersburg, I know almost all the city very well. So when I have some idea, or I want to see some, I don't know if I want to see Hermitage, I know where to go. If I want to see l'Arta Center, the tower, I know where to go. So I have some idea, I know where to go, or it's really, I go out on one subway station on Nevsky, for example, and I will walk 1-2 hours around in different, or I come from one subway station to another one subway station, and I will try to find a new street that I didn't walk or stuff like this. And I always keep, when I walk, I always keep in my mind, this part was interesting, this one not. So I know after where I can go and come back with interesting light or different weather. It's very important to be very focused. I mean, to watch everything, because if I don't take the photo now, I can take the photo tomorrow or this winter or at spring, or always keep this in mind. It's very important, I think.
Wow, we have very interesting question. Did photography help you to understand Russia and Russian people?
It's interesting, yes. To take photo here in the city, yes, of course. Because now I live here, but at the beginning, without photography, I will not go to a lot of places. I mean, when you are new or tourist, you follow all the same street. And photography really pushed me to go to places that I will not go, who can look dangerous, but they are not dangerous, but can look not very friendly. And you discover a lot of places like this. And after, yes, you understand better the city and the people, because sometimes you talk with people. And so, yes, it's for sure.
Do you have favorite museums in St. Petersburg?
Favorite museum? Oh, I love the Hermitage.
Do you
go, I like the.
Do you go there?
Yes, not often, but I was there maybe, I don't know, 7 times.
Wow.
It's not very often, but I like to go there. Yes. I love the Russian museum for the paint. And the same, it's like, for me, paint, it's like movie. When you go in museum, sometimes you can find new ID. Yeah. So it's always interesting with paint or everything in art. You can find new ID for photography.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to Leningrad Oblast and our seaside?
Yes, but not enough. I mean, it's like I would love to visit Karelia. It's really not far from us. And I didn't yet, but I need to do it.
Yeah, we really love our seaside.
Yeah.
All the Petersburg people, I believe.
No, yes, of course. After I was in the city, on the north of the city, on the seaside, like Sistrolsk and all this place. Yes, I was, of course. I like. It's a big plus for the city to have seaside like this.
Another question. Is it not hard? People, they don't speak English?
Young people, they speak English now in the city. The same if you go to Moscow, it's you don't have problem.
Yeah.
I have a bit of Russian, so it's okay. And when people understand that you are foreigners, they are really kind. After, I'm sure if I go to don't know, one village totally lost in Siberia, nobody will speak English. It's logic. It's the same in France. It's the same everywhere. But in big city like here, young people know, and it's a lot of old people who speak French.
Wow.
So very often they ask me something in Russian. I tell them I don't speak Russian, and because I'm French, and they answer to me in French. So it's very strange, but it's very funny.
It's pleasant.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to ask what was the age of the oldest student of yours?
Maybe it was around 50.
Wow, it's here in St. Petersburg.
Yes, in St. Petersburg. It was someone from Moscow.
Wow, and the youngest?
Yeah. The young, well, I think it's around 20. Yes, around 20.
Well, I think we ran out of questions. I want to thank Victor for very interesting discussion. Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Please, after all this situation will end, please come visit us. We will drink coffee, talk.
Yes.
We'll be really glad to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Thanks to you, yes.